Every year on Everyday Gourmet, I like to show you at least one offal recipe, and I think it's super important. We do enjoy all the primary cuts of meat, but we can't forget our secondary cuts of meat. It's actually respecting the animal. So what I've got today is something quite interesting. These are sweetbreads. Now, these are veal thymus glands, and what I've done is soak them in some vinegar overnight, so vinegar and water, and then I've just blanched them really quickly and then placed them into some chilled water. We want to do this because we want to take this piece of sinew away. So there's a little fat and sinew around it, so it's a little fiddly, but after you get the hang of it, you can see it just comes off quite easily if you put them in the vinegar and you just blanch them really quickly. So once you've removed that, you've got this gorgeous piece of meat, and that's really what it is. And after cooking it, flash frying it and putting it with a delicious French style sauce, they are divine. So I've got some flour here, and you may have tried these in restaurants, particularly in French restaurants. Sometimes they crumb them, but I'm not going to crumb them today. I think that's sort of the easy way to do it. This is a really nice, delicate way, and serving it with some porcini mushrooms and some cognac. So these ones I've prepared earlier, and just into some flour, and this is going to also thicken up our sauce. And we'll just turn our pan on, some extra virgin olive oil, and I'll also add some butter, a generous sort of French style knob of butter, which is about 20 grams. And we'll just allow that butter to melt, and then one by one we're just going to add these gorgeous little sweetbreads. Okay, and because we've blanched them, they really don't need too long to cook. In fact, you want to be really careful not to overcook them. If you overcook them, then they will become tough. We want them to be just really light and fluffy, and that's what they will be if you just really quickly flash fry them. Okay, so we'll get some colour on one side. It's going to take just a minute or so. In the meantime, I'll prepare some French shallots. So just 2 French shallots, just cut straight down the middle. And we want this to be quite fine. So run your knife one way, then the other. I'll do that with the second shallot. And this will also just speed up the cooking process the finer they are. And now the second shallot, again, we'll do the same, just finely slicing it. In France, this recipe you would serve with girole mushrooms. It's actually quite hard to find here in Australia. So porcini mushrooms are a fantastic substitute. And if you can't find the fresh porcinis, then definitely use the dried ones, and that's what I've done. And you want to prepare that ahead of time. So I've placed these in a bowl of warm water and just allow them to soften for about 10 to 15 minutes. See how they're quite soft and rehydrated? And we want to squeeze out the excess water. We want about a handful, and this is just like liquid gold. That is mushroom stock. We'll also add that to our beautiful sauce. So with these mushrooms, I'm just going to roughly chop it. I don't mind a little texture in there. All right, let's turn the sweetbreads. Oh, look at that colour. I just love that golden colour, and they go so crispy. See that? Yum. Okay, while that pan's really hot, we can now add our French shallots. Just sprinkle that in and around. And the porcini mushrooms can go in now. We'll give the pan a bit of a jiggle. And you want this to be quite hot because we need to flambe this. But before I do that, I'll add 2 sprigs of thyme. And I'll place that in there. And now to flambe. Now I'm using some brandy. If you can get hold of cognac, get that. And this is really going to give this a beautiful flavour. So stand back when you're doing this, be careful. A drizzle, and then flambe. Woo! And those flames essentially are just cooking off the alcohol, leaving us with a beautiful aroma. Love this. Now in with some of that mushroom stock, just a splash. And just let that reduce for a moment. So we'll just grab a separate plate and take them off so I can finish off the sauce. Great, now to finish this, a little extra butter. I might just add half of this and just give that a stir through. And in true French form, some creme fraiche, so a few dollops of the creme fraiche. Okay, now we'll just turn the heat down and give that a swirl and just allow all of those flavours to mingle and that creme fraiche is just going to slowly melt in. We just want that to thicken up slightly, so just let that bubble away for a few moments. I'm quite happy with this sauce. See how it's just starting to glisten and it's sticking to my spoon. We'll turn the heat off. And to present this, I like to place a generous spoonful of the sauce on the plate. All of those lovely mushrooms. One more spoonful. And then I've got my eye on this sweetbread here. It's just a perfect shape. We'll just pop that on the top. The sweetbreads are quite rich, so you really only need one of this size. You'd serve it as an entree if you like, maybe with some crusty French bread. I'll tell you who really, really loves this, Mama Francoise. If only she was here right now.